What if one of the strangest geopolitical ideas of the last decade is quietly turning into policy? Donald Trump's much-discussed Greenland framework, if it truly exists, could mark a turning point in Arctic geopolitics, global trade, and great power rivalry. What began years ago as an offhand remark about buying Greenland has now evolved into something far more consequential. Trump has described the framework as a concept of a deal that would give the United States long-term access to Greenland for security and mineral extraction. Denmark and Greenland have pushed back hard, insisting that sovereignty is not on the table. But notice the shift in language. What was once framed as a purchase is now being described as influence for investment. That distinction matters. To understand how we got here, we have to rewind. Back in 2019, Trump openly floated the idea of buying Greenland, calling it a large real estate deal. Denmark's response was swift and blunt. Greenland is not for sale. What could have ended as a diplomatic footnote instead hardened into resentment. State visits were canceled, relations cooled, and a quiet diplomatic freeze set in. Fast forward to Trump's return to office, rhetoric turned into leverage. Greenlandic access and Arctic cooperation became linked to NATO burden sharing and trade concessions. By 2025, the dispute had shifted from symbolism to economics. So why Greenland? Its strategic value is immense. During the Cold War, the U.S. already tried to buy the island, offering Denmark $100 million in 1946. Today, Greenland anchors the Guyuk Gap, a critical corridor for monitoring Russian and increasingly Chinese naval movement between the Arctic and the North Atlantic. The U.S. base at Patuxent has long made Greenland central to American missile warning and space surveillance. But security is only half the story. Greenland sits on vast, largely untapped deposits of rare earth elements, materials essential for electric vehicles, wind turbines, and advanced weapons systems. China currently dominates global rare earth processing, something Washington sees as a strategic vulnerability. At the same time, climate change is reshaping the Arctic. Sea ice is shrinking by roughly 13% per decade, opening shipping routes that could cut Asia-Europe transit times by nearly a third. Preventing Chinese firms from embedding themselves in Greenland's infrastructure has become a top U.S. priority. Tensions peaked when the U.S. imposed a 25% security levy on European autos and steel, explicitly tied to Arctic access. The EU retaliated with tariffs on U.S. technology and agriculture. A brief but intense transatlantic trade freeze followed, one that is now suspended but not resolved. In the middle of all this, Greenland's own government made one thing clear. Foreign investment is welcome, but only on Greenland's terms, and with an eye toward eventual independence from Denmark. So, what would a deal that works for everyone actually look like? Not a purchase. Instead, think contracts. The framework likely revolves around a long-term joint development zone, possibly 99 years, covering specific military and industrial areas. The U.S. would gain operational access without formal sovereignty. In return, Washington would suspend Greenland-related tariffs and secure first-look rights for American firms in mining and energy. At the heart of the proposal is a massive Arctic infrastructure fund, potentially worth billions, jointly managed by Nuuk and Washington. The goal: upgrade airports, broadband, and renewable energy systems across an island of just 57,000 people spread over a vast remote landmass. The winners and losers are clear. The United States gains privileged access to critical minerals and effectively blocks China from the Arctic Atlantic. Greenland receives investment worth several times its annual GDP, accelerating economic self-sufficiency. Denmark sees its influence diluted as Nuuk's economic and security ties tilt decisively toward Washington. China, meanwhile, is the clear geopolitical loser, shut out of a region it once labeled part of its polar Silk Road. But the risks are just as real. Environmental groups warn that large-scale mining could irreversibly damage fragile Arctic ecosystems. Politically, the framework may struggle to survive a change in U.S. administration, resistance from Europe, or Trump's own unpredictability. Looking ahead, this deal may function as a stepping stone toward Greenlandic independence, effectively positioning the island as a U.S. protectorate in all but name. Tariffs are paused for now, but the calm feels transactional, not reconciliatory. In the end, the Trump-Greenland framework will be judged on one question. Is this innovative 21st century statecraft, aligning security, investment, and autonomy, or a dangerous precedent that treats sovereign territory as a negotiable asset in an age of great power competition? That answer may define the future of the Arctic and the rules of global power for decades to come. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.